Good evening to everyone. I'm so happy to have the chance of starting this very first official presentation of Mondo Internazionale to an international audience. My name is Stefano Sartorio, and I am one of the founders of Mondo Internazionale and its vice president as well. During the preparation of this brief debate on what we do as an international association and how we do that, I had the chance to see the large interest by people from several countries in understanding our goals. This, in fact, is one of the main reasons why we decided to give life to this meeting together to outreach and to implement the international cooperation among societies. But first thing first, this webinar is registered and is in the same time available on Facebook, and it will be also uploaded on YouTube channel in a few days. We will kindly accept all your questions that you want to share with us, and according to the time we will finish, we'll try our best to answer to all of them. Presenting our valuable panelists, we are here with Michele Pavan, our president and co-founder, Andrea Vassallo, our secretary general and co-founder as well, Mariane Stephanie Talle Jouogo, the president of Mondo Internazionale Cameroon and our head for foreign affairs for the Sub-Saharan Africa that is not already with us, but she will come in soon. And last but not least, Alexander Omoniyi Ominyi, the president of Mondo Internazionale Nigeria. Starting from this, and thank you again for your presence, in order to understand what Mondo Internazionale is, and I'm referring to Michele to answer this question, can you better explain us, when we talk about Mondo Internazionale, what are we talking about?
Yes, good evening to everybody, and thank you, Stefano, for your very kind presentation of me and Mondo Internazionale. I'm honored to be here and present Mondo Internazionale in international context. I would like to begin by introducing the association history about how Mondo Internazionale was set up by me, Stefano and Andrea, and then how and where we work. Mondo Internazionale was born around 3 or 4 years ago as a simple blog where young students of our universities, studied in Milan, wrote articles about international relations. At that time, we were around 20 students involved in the initiative. Before the decision to start this new adventure and launch the blog with my colleagues, I was working with another association traveling around the world, working at the same time with young and elder generations, and of course with the experts on crisis. And I really believed in the role of young generations in crisis prevention. But I asked myself, which is the real vision of young generations? And I didn't have one answer, but several answers. And the most important answer I thought it was, it's important to give opportunities to young people to explain their opinions. But coming back to the blog, students started to write about international relations. They studied and analyzed with a new point of view without an ideological focus, but confronting several ideas, they put together all the information and describe what happened in the world. These activities, of course, was for our community, but behind the students were also able to discuss their opinion and find several possible solutions about international crisis and future. And step by step, Mondo Internazionale grew bigger, developing new ideas and projects. And then in 2017, we together decided to set concretely up the association. At the beginning, we worked with other students to give them the opportunity to implement their ideas in 2 projects. in the field of sustainable sustainable development. Sustainable Life is the project of Mondo Internazionale that work on sustainable development. Sustainable development, international cooperation, and cultural diplomacy, and several sectors. And after we started to manage and organize the administrative offices and the new divisions of Mondo Internazionale, for example, Mondo Internazionale Academy, Mondo Internazionale Hub, and Mondo Internazionale GEO. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this inspiration. And now I would like also to ask you, how is the association working with its members today? And moreover, respecting the theme of international cooperation, that is principle of this webinar, among young generations, what is, in your opinion, the role of Mondo Internazionale activities in this? And what do we mean as an organization when we speak about international cooperation?
Thank you, Stefano. I will try with a very short answer, but it's not very easy. At the beginning, I would like to start from international cooperation and recall my previous reply. In the last 5 years, in particular during the 3 last years, I think international cooperation changing every day. Asking people what is the international cooperation was only about receiving an answer underlying the humanitarian assistance, for example. But this is a part of humanitarian affairs. That is one sector of the international cooperation as well. And now when you ask people what is international cooperation, you are getting more complex answers, highlighting several sectors, as for example, education, international training, and empowerment. In the last 3 years, more people are getting to know what international cooperation is, with a major attention to NGO, association, and other actors, for example, the most important UN. And 2 years ago, Mondo Internazionale started to organize a new administrative team who manages all association sectors. This team permits us to organize and develop more and more the association together with the new members, new projects, and new divisions. And by this model, this business model, the management of the association allows young people to improve their tasks with learning by doing principle. And in fact, administrative tasks like internal and external communication strategy, planification strategy, human resources, and project managing are directly pursued by our associates, learning and acquire new expertise. On this model for a better organization, the steering committee approved 3 divisions to organize activities of the association. The first division is Mondo Internazionale Academy, that recently opened the first student branch in the famous university in Milan. It's the point of connection between universities and the job market. The focuses are information and training. Information following the original idea of the blog that I mentioned before, and training following 2 complementary approaches. The first one, the learning by doing, and the second one, the development of international courses with a plural perspective. The second division is Mondo Internazionale Hub, which develops and analyzes innovation and propose the solutions about social, economic, environment, sustainability for private and public sectors. And the last but not the least, in particular, is my work. We have recently opened Mondo Internazionale GEO, Geostrategic Earth Observation, which develops and analyzes the international context and geostrategic aspects with a new approach by using satellite technology. In conclusion, with these administrative and project structures, we have created a model that we can transmit to other people to set up a new association all around the world. In fact, we have made a new model of licensing solutions to set up new branches all around the world, starting from countries like Nigeria, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, and the other. And then people can adapt our common activities, such as, for example, education, based on the needs of the country. In the end, this is my opinion on international cooperation. Have a purposes, work on that, create and develop a context, interact with other ideas and cultures all around the world, and respect them, and work like a unique big family all around the world.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this inspiration. Now, turning to Andrea, our Secretary General and co-founder too, I would like to ask you another question. You are every day working with young people, coordinating them in their tasks. And what is, in your opinion, the role of young generations in Italy and in the world today, and what should it be?
Thank you, Stefano, for your warm welcome. I also thank you, everyone who has joined this webinar this afternoon. I also want to thank you, Alex, for your presence, and I hope that Mariane can join us soon in the discussion. I think that now, especially during these hard times that we are facing, we need to empower young people and generations. And because we are all spectators of a global event, the COVID-19 pandemic, which effects and consequences are potentially disrupted. In Italy, and that is has been one of the epicenters of this pandemic, we are witnessing an exponential growth of digital technologies and a growing need to develop a more sustainable and innovative society. And I think this is a common theme, not only in Italy, but in also many other countries, both developed and developing. I think that the education of young students and professionals will be a key factor in order to achieve the goal to adapt our society in a changing, rapidly changing environment on a global scale. And I also think that young people are the ones who, that have to lead our world in this transformation. And for this reason, they are very prone to elaborate and implement ideas that are, and they can provide a more sustainable development in their countries, firstly. However, we need our government, of course, to invest more and more in their education and professionalization. And to make their ideas a concrete reality in the management of economy, politics, environment, and also international development. So this is my vision about the role of young generations in our world today. I cannot hear you, Stefano.
Okay, I'm here back. Sorry.
Okay,
thank you for your answer. Now I would like to ask you, in your opinion, what is the value of international cooperation among young people all over the world?
Yes, thank you. As one of the co-founder of Mondo Internazionale, I'm sure that investing in young generation will provide the human capital we need to address both present and future challenges. And I believe that the current international leadership should focus on transferring the expertise and knowledge to students and to young professionals by providing a legacy. And for legacy, I mean policies and initiatives on a global scale in order to facilitate the empowerment of our skill and thinking patterns. And this is crucial to understand mistakes that have been made in the past and should be avoided in the future. For example, I refer to the exploitation of our ecosystems and then the new rise of social inequalities in developed countries and the inability to support and develop new models of development toward a more sustainable future. So now there is a heavy burden that weighs on the shoulder of young people, and they have the mission the mission of dealing with many crucial challenges, and as the climate change or the rise of social problems that we thought and had disappeared from our world forever. But I think we are again witnesses of a historical cycle. So I mean that our times create strong men and women, and our youth need to be strong as many times did in the past to help rebuild our social values. Mondo Internazionale, I can say, has this precise scope. So to foster young people and their potential by providing a constant exchange of knowledge between experienced professionals and students from high school or universities. And I, together with also you and Michele, I feel the urgency to help the students in developing a set of skills in demand to facilitate the entry in the working environments while giving the means and the motivation to develop their ideas with passion and integrity. And our goal is, of course, to give the opportunity to younger students, as Michele also said before, and professionals to join private and public companies and help them developing the idea of a more sustainable way of living and doing businesses. And on the other hand, we also give them the opportunity to develop personal ideas and projects, but that are supported through our projects and activities. And regarding international cooperation, Mondo Internazionale believes in the power of international cooperation between different realities and countries. Our activities in Nigeria, Cameroon, and Ivory Coast are an example of our mission and vision. And I want to thank especially Alex to be here tonight and this evening, and to us to discuss also and give his opinion about it. And as Mondo Internazionale, we want to export our model of association that we are developing here in Italy, but we don't want we want to adapt it in the local context, but rather than imposing it. And for doing so, we provide an initial support from a legal and administrative perspective, but all the operational activities are defined by the local members. And I think this is the correct way to approach realities with different social and cultural backgrounds. And we don't want simply to export our model. We want to share, discuss, and develop our ideas together to give an impact that should be positive on the society, local society. And this allows us, of course, and our members to establish an international dialogue with the aim to give anyone the chance to take part in building a process of global governance and leadership by addressing international and common issues from different points of view. And I believe that sharing different thinking patterns is a key to address challenges in every of their aspects. In conclusion, I want to say that through our model, international members of Mondo Internazionale have the possibility to develop their own association and to give their contributes in facing local problems regarding the youth. And the common objective, as I said before, is to educate the young generations to become the future leadership. And I think that only by supporting a global youth leadership with shared values and ideas, we will be able to tackle current challenges and to guide the international community toward a more peaceful and resilient society.
Thank you, Andrea, for this valuable contribution. And thank you also to Mariane for having reached us right now. Mondo Internazionale is fostering, as you said, a new way of international cooperation among young generations through the creation of a new model of social impact. As Michele said before, when we find room and the correct chance of engaging in a new international cooperation after customary administrative issues, such as the drafting of an international agreement, for example, we work to implement our structure in the country through the active agency of local young people. This process is aimed at speeding up the positive social impact and to build an international network of young future leaders and creative people ready to work for a positive future for themselves also, and their communities. But there's no better way to understand the way we work together than to listen to our African partners that share our goals and missions towards a more resilient society and towards the empowerment of international youth. Now, I would like to thank again our guests, Mariane and Alexander, for being here to tell to the general public what is Mondo Internazionale in Africa. Reporting some examples of activities that our associations are carrying in the continent. Starting from Mariane, President of Mondo Internazionale Cameroon and Head of Foreign Affairs for the Sub-Saharan Africa. Can you explain why you decided to adhere to the association's mission and values, and what initiatives and projects are you carrying on in your country? And lastly, how do you see the role of Mondo Internazionale on a global perspective?
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, Mariane.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Hi, Andrea, Michele, and the others.
Hello, Mariane.
Hi, Mariane.
Thanks to be
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you guys here today. Yeah, I'm going to quickly start by telling you why I decided to work with Mondo International, because I think it's very important. You know, I was quite interested by the vision of Mondo International. Mondo International is mainly focused about working on the human capital. And I think that's what the world needs today. And I think that's what Africa needs today. Investing in human capital, because at the end of the day, no matter the field we are into, no matter what we want to achieve, we need the human capital. So if we can invest in the human capital, that's the best thing for me that Africa needs. So this is the main reason why I am so happy and so proud to work with Mondo International. Now, the other aspect of this is, with Mondo International, we have the capacity to build everybody in his own potential and reveal his potential to the world. So irrespectively of what you are able to do, on your talent, on your passion, in Mondo International, we are able to guide you so that you fit into what we want to achieve, so that your talent is not wasted, but used together with the others to achieve a common goal and a common purpose. So this is the beauty of Mondo International, is that actually what we are trying to build in Africa in general. So in the case of Cameroon, for instance, we started working as Mondo International Cameroon in 2019. And the very first thing we started by doing is to try to have a campaign of sensitization on human rights. You know, human rights, one of the main parts of Mondo International. And we were very interested into helping young people to get education in Cameroon, because despite the fact that we are in the 21st century, you might be shocked to realize that we still have a lot of people that are unable to have proper education. So we just try to choose some people from very vulnerable social background and try to send them to school. Like, we raise some funds and try to help them to go to school, because at the end of the day, they need education if we want them to be able to express their potential, if we want them to be able to be part of the society that we are trying to build. So this was one of our very first projects, to scolarize a certain number of young people from vulnerable social background. Then we moved on, and we decided also to start what we call the Mondo Clubs. Mondo Clubs is mainly a social kind of gathering that we meet in secondary school and universities. And the purpose in the secondary school is to teach young people to care for the fellow ones. In other words, we have clubs in which we are not interested into having just like, you know, competition on maybe football or sport, but where we encourage people to look after the others. We have a lot of young kids that come to school and they cannot afford a meal a day. So they have to be in school for 7 hours, like 7 hours a day, and they cannot afford to have just a snack in between. So we are bringing up this kind of gathering, so that with the Mondo Club, so that they can detect those kind of kids that are from very poor home and be able to come together and contribute let me say 50 cents per week, in order to help these other people that are from very poor home to have just like one meal a day during the time they're in class. So we try to nurture them in this, habit of caring for one another, because we very much believe that if we could have a kind of heart where we all care for one another, by the time they are grown up and they are having like position of authority, maybe in the government or maybe in the society, it is the same drive that's going to move them, and they are going to create more impact than the present generation, that what people are doing now. So that was like our second project, and we are fully working on that. It's true that because of the current world situation and the school that have been closed, we are actively preparing that for the next academic year that's going to start in September 2020. So our team is working on that actively together, like with school authorities, so that this comes to pass. So, and on the other hand, we want to have what we call it's just a bit like the one in Italy is Mondo International Academy. But the difference with what we try to do in Cameroon is that it is a power building kind of setting. So we try to get people in power to do some kind of manual labor, or to be able to do it, to bring them in the spirit of entrepreneurship. So we are going to train them into entrepreneurship so that they are ready to function in the current society. So this is quite important for us, because we have a lot of people that might have been to school sometimes, but they cannot be hired into companies, maybe because we have a lot of people that maybe have the same qualification, and we don't have enough company to hire them. So we have to help them to know that they can be entrepreneurs in order to earn a living, make it in life, and be able to succeed. So we are building that academy to build the power in the young people in order to, create job in themselves, and not wait for anybody to come and give them jobs, but let them be job providers. So this is the main role that the Mondo Academy Cameroon is going to do. And so basically these are the three main points we've been working on so far, and many are still to come. The team is working on that. Is beside the project on helping the society in this time of coronavirus, assisting them, let me say, with gel, hand sanitizing gel and mask and all of that, sensitizing populations about how serious the sickness is, and how they can protect themselves from getting the sickness. So that is what we are currently doing quite actively in the western region of Cameroon. So basically that's what we've been working on, and we are so happy. Our team is quite happy and dedicated to work on that. And we are dreaming to have in future more and more members to put our hands together, to catch the vision, to bring our ideas, our mindset, our plans together, so that we are able to build a better future for our nation. So basically that's it.
Thank you, Mariane, for your time and your competencies. We are very happy to work together in reaching these new positive developments for our reciprocal societies. And I think you summarized perfectly what we didn't explicitly say. Working on human capital, discovering new talents with your Mondo clubs, as you said before, and also power building for future generations. These whole activities are both to enhance and empower young people in making their change into the world, and also as we think our work, our daily work, will also be positive for the whole society, because young people usually bring in innovation, bring in new solutions that maybe the previous generation weren't able to find, maybe. And
exactly,
it is in this kind that of course we need a cooperation between generations and not competition.
Exactly.
Create this added value that you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
You're welcome, Stefano. My pleasure.
Thank you. And now it's the turn of Alex. Thank you for being here with us. Alex is the president of Mondo Internazionale Nigeria, and he's duly representing our global mission in the country. Now, my question for you, Alex, is what drove you to embrace the cause of young people empowerment, and which activities are you implementing also about that in Nigeria in favor of this goal? And lastly, what do you think, as I asked before to Mariane, what do you think is the potential of this global network that we are building together?
All right, thank you, Stefano. I very much appreciate your very warm introduction of my person, and also a huge honor and appreciation to my president, Michele Pavan, and also co-founder, as well, Andrea. I appreciate you all. Mondo Internazionale brings a world-class support and leadership, and in Nigeria, we have started to work with that opportunity the Mondo provides for us to achieve great results and impactful innovations in our own community across the cities of Nigeria. First, I'd like to address the issue, what brought me to work with Mondo to achieve this level of empowerment with young people. First, from a personal experience, I started out my life as a young person. Writing was my primary way of addressing the world. And then also, I had a very limited way to share the things I was writing. I couldn't afford publishing, and I couldn't self-publish at the time. And I'll talk about the time when the internet was not even available in my country. And so during the internet period, I found a Yahoo. I knew what Google did. And I saw this huge, amazing internet facilities that allowed for me to do so much and having to pay just almost nothing. And so that was huge. And I thought to myself, if I was the only one who saw this huge opportunity. So Google gave me access to huge information. I was researching, reading through, and that helped me a whole lot. And the same thing, I had an email that I could store, I could send to people. That was huge. As a young person, I had read Time magazine. I mean, sometimes I go very far to buy old editions of magazines just because I wanted to see what the old and the outside world, outside of my African country, was about. So I started reading Time, I started reading Forbes, I started reading The Economist. I was buying these old stocks, even they were old 10 years back, I didn't mind because I found the knowledge very valuable. And I said, so if this sort of people existed, how can I find much more access to connect with what they were giving to me? So that was big at the time. And then when the internet came, I discovered I could write these people directly. They responded to me. I said, wow, there's a huge world out there. And I said, wow, then I was going to spend a lot more time doing this. And that was not it. And then the next thing that followed, I learned about blogging. I said, blogging, it allowed me to share instantly and quickly my ideas and then publish it instantly. And people were reading, they were connecting with me. And I said, wow. So this is, for me, it was an instantaneous and inexpensive way to share information on a global platform. And so while that was another big thing for me, I saw Facebook come up. That was something that rose above High Five. I didn't use High Five, but Facebook, it allowed me to share some of my ideas. And what brought me here, I started having a love for entrepreneurial related thinking that could help advance young people like myself. Haven't had a number of researches that could help people set up their businesses, start it up, progress and move forward. And so Facebook was good. So I did this for quite a while. And then suddenly I stumbled on organizations in the West that helped me to advance my thinking. And now this is it. Young Nigerians are very creative. They need so much support. Just like me, there are many millions of young Nigerians who need support. Some of them may not have access to computers, but they found local cyber cafes where they could pay just 100 naira. That's about I don't know what that is in dollar, but maybe just let's just say 2/3 of a dollar. So the amount of money they stay in a cyber cafe, some learn, some do very funny things. We know the implications of poverty. And so with Mondo Internazionale, it was a huge opportunity for us to leverage and join hands with the great army and the leadership that is working in Italy. So we connected with that. Before now, our history was with having young people come together, which was the startup we started here, and Mondo is supporting that big time right now, was Feed University. It was a smart way of leading, organizing, transferring talent, skills, digital capacity to young people. And we do that in association with agencies, which bring creativity and diversity into media thinking, marketing, design thinking. And so we started this in 2016. And in 2017, 18, we were able to train a whole lot of young people who have taken this knowledge with them and progress forward with it. And how has that helped them? It's helped them to have better welfare for themselves. It takes them away from having to go into cyber crimes. It takes them away. They can begin to think for themselves, selling the best of their minds in exchange for what is in the wallet of another. And I think that is a pretty amazing thing to do. And then another thing that brought us forward, we'd always look for a way to explore the opportunities of digital media and digital journalism. A lot of young Nigerians are creative writers. A lot of young Nigerians want to share their opinions, but there are very little platforms that allows them. And when we saw the opportunities that Mondo Internazionale brought, it allowed a whole lot of young people in Nigeria to write and share in a channeled opportunity that allows a larger community outside of their own community to read what they were doing. And so that became very big for us. So we started teaching the art of writing. We also brought editorial thinking to support them. We don't want to just say this, address them as bloggers, because bloggers are unedited sorts of people, but we call them contributors. So these contributors, they roam around our own editorial space, and we have people who watch what they're doing and write down, then we collate this writing forward and help them to do so. And another thing we've been able to do here in Nigeria was to we're interested in science and health. And so we have amongst us in our ranks people who are very passionate about skin health. And so we launched our skin intervention. The first part of this year, we have people who showed for it was skin intervention was a decade-long approach for us to eradicate poor skin care culture in Nigeria. And so with some of our associates, Kikelomo Patola, we were able to reach out to communities with a skincare machine analyzer that analyzes for about 8 issues and items on the skin. It looks for the melanin. It also tests for the water level, that's the moisture level, for eight items on the body. And then this machine tells the skin age, having analyzed these 8 things. And why is this very important right now? We have a whole lot of young people who are on the streets, on the roads, and our communities making sales in the heat of the sun because they have to make a living. So also we have old people. So some of these initiatives, they are startups that has a social mission behind them. And so we support and lead this initiative. It's very huge. So just like Feed University, we've been able to touch several hundreds of young people who today have started up their own businesses and that they are making a living, and also have been able to recruit young people like themselves in the same business. And so also is the same thing we've been able to do with skin intervention. Skin intervention is also recruiting people in communities, empowering them with these machines, sending them to different communities to make this test, and also recommending the necessary ingredients that they need to use. We found that in our country, a lot of young people are having a low self-esteem with their own skin color. And then also they are using very harmful substances on their body that has side effects on them. And I think with this education and enlightenment that we work, with skill intervention to connect communities and young people, and it's been very helpful. In March 19th, we also connected university campuses. We did that at Babcock University in Shagamu, that's in Ogun State. And also we connected University of Lagos, right where we had Intervention 2020. We chose an academic institution for the purposes that connects with the young people we want to reach out with this message. And then also, I like to also talk about what we are doing with our design initiatives. We're teaching young people to be able to do designs, creative works, because we believe that their art designs will find a great opportunity on the internet. And why is empowering them very important? It gives young people the tools with which they can collaborate and solve problems, brainstorm, and create opportunities for themselves. It also encourages them to use their passions for good. And also we are also using this to guide them to believe that their voice matters without people judging or criticizing them on what they're doing. I would say this, it's a whole lot if you have to be a journalist in Nigeria, much less when you have to use social medias in Nigeria. Young people deserve to be heard. And the only way we could do that, we know there's podcasts, but we need to talk about peercast, because this is a time when young generations are using these facilities, these internet facilities, and we need to open their eyes to opportunities that are available. And how are we doing that? We're also bringing education their way, helping them see a way they can mitigate today's inefficiencies in the society, in the system, using digital media to share their own stories. Because we come from a society where young people are rather expected to spend a lot of their years in school and just studying, and that is it. It's the same challenge we have when people study business for over, and you do 6 years in secondary school, you have to do another 4 years, you come out, and then you are told that you're a baby in that field, you have to gather experiences. And so the only way we are stemming this is to start giving them the experiences through the expertise and the people we have in our ranks to support them in these areas. And then young people, before graduating out of schools, they have the experiences to build set up. They've had opportunity of interning, not only interning, they also have some work experiences. They can point to a number of projects they've been involved in, and I think these things give them opportunity to win the jobs they need. You asked again, what is the potential of Mondo Internazionale in the world? I think that is a huge opportunity, because I consider what Mondo Internazionale is doing as a large network of an army of the kind, and that is a new kind of an army. What are we doing? We're investing hope in the next generation, and not just hope. We bring that element of support. We share our facilities with them. We share our knowledge with them. Not only so we share research with them, not only just the research, we create workplaces where their energies and imaginations are exposed to things that energizes what they have in their mind and show them that this is possible. And then also with Mondo Internazionale, their ideas can find expressions. It can find much more visibilities with outside communities learning what they are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for this amazing, for your amazing leadership. And I'm very happy always to hear your comments, the comments of our partners on what we're doing together. And I'm always happy to see that our initiative, our activities are always intersecting somehow, always embracing the same values from one side of the world to another. And you spoke about the need of sharing new ideas. You spoke about the role that we together can have for future generation in keeping people creating, innovating, cooperating each other in for the next future, of course. And these are the paramount values that we as Mondo Internazionale have always been keen to promote. And also I see that, I know that Nigeria creativity is very famous all around the world, as each country has its own potential. And I think that the work you are doing there, we all think that the work that you are doing there is really important. Lastly, I just wanted to remind to our audience that, and please Alex, tell me if I'm wrong, on the 6th of July, we will have the Breakhead event on Zoom. And Alex, do you want to briefly update us on this?
All right, thank you, Stefano. Thank you so very much. Very kind of you. Okay, on the 6th of July, Monday, we will be hosting Breakhead Summit. It's a live webinar happening, and then we're bringing about speakers from different countries. The whole idea for Breakhead, it's an accelerated path towards a meaningful impact investment for people in the nonprofit zone and also in the business. Our focus this year, which is the third one in series, the first was in December and then followed in February, and this is July. I just want to share this, just paraphrase a little bit. One thing that COVID-19 couldn't stop was our creativity to evolve our events. And it's one of those beautiful things we've learned from Mondo Internazionale. And so with Breakhead, we are bringing resource people, experts from the United States. We're bringing Dr. Norris, and also we're bringing Simona Chaminska from Macedonia. Dr. Norris, I earlier mentioned, from the United States. And these two people, we need to know, very few have actually connected education and entrepreneurship to a very actionable level, the way Dr. Norris has done it within America and other countries. And for Simona, she's very huge in terms of ecosystem building. She's turned Macedonia upside down. I mean, she's an amazing person. And then also we are having our own very leader right here in Mondo Internazionale, in the person of Mitchell Pavan, who brings a huge experiences with him to also connect on that platform. I believe Breakhead allows us to share these insights, share this expert's opinion, share on ecosystem, the impact of entrepreneurs, the impact of non-profit players in their own communities, and how a lot of things that we can learn, and how all the participating countries and even stakeholder communities that will be joining on this platform can come together and see how we can make a whole lot of good happen in our world together. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you,
Alex.
I don't know if Michele, Andrea, or Mariane, do you want to add something before going to the end?
I want just a few words for Alex and Mariane and for the other members of Mondo Internazionale all around the world to thank you for your time and work. And I'm honored to work with you, because I think there is no distance between us when work together. So I think it's amazing thing, work together and develop this type of work all together. So thank you to Mariane and Alex, but for all members all around the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I would like to thank you to Mariane and Alex, and also I'm very honored to work with you every day. I thank you very much for the dedication, the support to the reality of Mondo Internazionale. And as I said before, we should take this moment, we should take every possibility in this moment to develop a global network of professionals and students that can support our future growth after the COVID-19, and to support also the resilience of our society in this difficult moment. So toward a more innovative and sustainable society. So thank you very much, and thank you for your presence today, for your intervention. I found it very, very useful and very, very inspiring. Thank you.
It's our pleasure, Andrea.
Thank you, Andrea.
So guys, thank you so much for being here. We were live on Facebook. You can find this video also on our Facebook page. And in a few days, we will be delivering it also on YouTube. I am personally also saying thank you again to Mariane and Alex for their presence here. Hope to see you physically in the next months. And so thank you so much. And thank you for all the people that decided to join our webinar tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Good evening.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for inviting us. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.